All right. Good evening, everybody. For the record, it is Thursday, June 23rd, 2022. It's 5:15 p.m. Time for the regular meeting of the Wenatchee City Council. We are out of executive session. I've called the meeting to order, and as always, we start with a pledge to our flag. So, Councilmember Cuevas, would you lead us?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Cuevas.
You're welcome, sir.
For the record this evening, Councilmember Kulas and Councilmember Harold are attending the Association of Washington Cities general meetings in Vancouver. Councilmember Huffager, are you with us this evening? He was going to call in. I don't hear him. I'll keep my phone up in case he texts in. So Tammy will just have to sort of monitor, and if he joins, you can make the record clear with that. Otherwise, we have the four horsemen here with us today. That's a compliment, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. For those of you that are a little bit new to coming to city council meetings, we actually do start with citizens' comments first before we do consent items. Under the Open Public Meetings Act, we need to do these things differently. This evening, we do not have any public hearing items, so I would ask if any member of the audience would wish to address the council on something that's on tonight's agenda or not on tonight's agenda, just want to talk. We'd ask you to come up, we'd give you 3 to 4 minutes, ask for your name and address for the record. So anybody want to come up and say hi? I see Steve and Mike sitting there. You guys going to come up and say hi? Or are you just going to sit in the back room and?
We can say hi.
Come on up.
Do we need to come up here?
Yeah, absolutely you do. You need to sit down, wave to everybody at home who's watching on TV. I don't know where the cameras are.
Well, I'm Mike Salmon. I live at 919 First Street in Wenatchee, and I'm the president of the Numerica Performing Arts Center. And with me is our vice president, Steve Robinson,
Okay.
and he lives out of town, but I think that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So
We won't hold that against him.
The idea was presented to us just barely a month ago about the possibilities of partnering up with the city of Wenatchee with the Performing Arts Center. Sounds pretty exciting, so we're here to learn, to see what all this could involve. It's going to take a while, but I will say this, the executive committee has got together, and we're going to put a recommendation out to our board that we continue with the talks in good faith to explore the possibilities.
Okay.
That's
So
about
when does your board meet?
The board meets on the 28th, which is next Tuesday.
Okay. So you'll email me or call me or send smoke signals or something to let me know how you guys,
I
how the
will.
full board voted?
I will.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks for being here, Mike. Anybody else wish to address the council on something that's on tonight's agenda or not? Seeing no other takers, we will move on to our agenda items. Our first, we have some presentations, excuse me. Actually, we have consent items first. God, I'm used to doing it the old way. So our first item are our consent items, which would include approving this evening's agenda, vouchers, and the minutes from the previous meetings, and for the council to accept the work performed by the contractor Rudnick and Sons on City Project 2005-P2. So I would entertain a motion.
Can I make a motion to approve agenda, voucher, and minutes from previous meetings, and to accept the work performed by the contractor Rudnick and Sons LLC on City Project number 2005-P2 and authorize the mayor to sign the final contract voucher.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Rojan and second by Councilmember Hornby to adopt this evening's agenda, vouchers, and our minutes from the previous meetings, and to accept the work performed by contractor Rudnick and Sons LLC on City Project 2005-P2 and authorize the mayor to sign the final contract voucher. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have presentations. We have two. The first is regarding National Night Out. So Captain Reinfeld, come on up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Just here for a brief update regarding National Night Out and our status. We have our 5 venues secured in our 5 districts, Cafe, and then Pennsylvania, Rotary, Pioneer, and Washington Parks. The event will be August 2nd, which is the first Tuesday in August, which aligns with the National Day for National Night Out. We're on the primary day from 6 to about 8:30 at each of those locations. We have the ice cream truck secured to place visits at all 5 locations, so we can make sure the ice cream ferry visits everywhere, which is great. We went through a lot last year. It's also how we get our primary count for a population who've attended each location is how much ice cream went out the truck at each place. So they will be paying visits. It won't be like last year where they'll be fixed for the entire time, but they will pay visits between 40 and 50 minutes at each location, so we can make sure the right number of kids and adults who think their kids get ice cream. Today I published our roster out to find our host officers for each location, so we've started working on that. Our idea is to have a host officer, a host professional staff member, and a volunteer and police service at each of the 5 locations for the duration to partner with each council member that's available to appear in their district at their park, and of course to host Mayor Kuntz and any other city officials who want to pay visits at one or any number of the locations. So we have everything we need right now to get started.
Good.
And we will know very shortly. As soon as we have personnel assigned to all 5 locations as a host officer, they'll be put in contact with their council member for that district. And you can make each other known to each other before it's time to go and then appear there together. I'd gladly take any questions about it.
So you got your sponsorships, little goodies to give out all the different places, all
We
that
have
stuff?
really minimal goodies to give out this year, and we're not going to try to focus on that. However, it started about July 10th last year when the deluge came
Yes.
of goodies to be donated. I expect the same thing will happen again starting July 6th. We'll start our marketing July 5th for the event. We stay out of the way of 4th of July, let the Independence Day celebration take the marketing. The 4th of July in the Valley is a big deal. It's a huge event, and we like to keep the focus on that until it's over.
Okay.
And then as soon as that's finished, we will kick off and through social media and other outlets, note the National Night Out is coming. And again, this is when it happened last year, just people throwing money and products and that at it for giveaways, and we'll build appropriately as it comes.
Okay.
So we do not have staff really to be pursuing a lot of that right today, but in the next couple of weeks, we may see some improvement.
Well, and we just, again, it was such a great turnout last year at the 3 locations. So see if I can get to all 5 locations.
You got 2.5 hours, sir, so you have half an hour at each spot, and you just got to hustle between, so
All right.
plan
Maybe
your
I'll get
route
my running
accordingly.
shoes on and be running, yeah. Or bike, maybe I'll bike. Maybe I can bike to all those places, who knows?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rotary's up the hill a bit, but the rest
Yeah.
of it's all right.
Maybe I'll start there and work downhill.
There you go,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. All right, any questions for Captain Reinfeld?
In between places.
Yep. All right, thank you, Captain.
All right, thanks, sir.
You bet. Mr. Maher, an update on our valley, our future.
PowerPoint should be on. Oh, the last one. Yeah. Okay. Jesse, there's a slideshow. I will.
Right here?
Is it on the laptop?
Oh, it's on the left.
Thank you.
Yes, you have, okay. I don't know what it's called there.
Click on it. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm doing.
It's like,
Is it the
it looks
PowerPoint?
pretty fancy.
Probably true.
For me, anyway.
Thank you, Mayor Kuntz, council members, for the opportunity tonight to talk to you some more about what our Valley, our future's been up to. I also want to thank the city for your continued support. The city from the very beginning has been a great partner for OVOF going back to 2015, and I really appreciate it. So again, I'm here tonight to give you an overview of OVOF's work, including the release of our new 5-year community action plan that came out a couple months ago, and also give you an idea of what we're doing, as we kind of revert or pivot into our implementation phase. So this was a big lift. It was about a 16-month process. We started in November of 2020 and finished in March of this year. The whole thing here was to address, challenges and changes that are taking place in our community, and basically have an in-depth community conversation with people and try to figure out, what they want this place to be, what they see as the strengths, challenges, weaknesses, solutions, and then, use that to basically come up with a plan for the future. One stat you don't see here is that we had more than 2,000 people participate. And of that number, about 26% self-identified as Latino. And that feedback from the Latino community is in all the game changer initiatives and in several of the action items. This also, because we did this in the midst of a pandemic, we had to basically converse with people either virtually or electronically. And that was, it was difficult at first, but we found ways to do it. And I think the fact that we ended up getting more than 2,000 folks speaks volumes about how we did that. One other thing I'd like to point out, although it was difficult during the pandemic, developing this plan and the work we did sort of puts this area, this region ahead of things. Right now, separate from OVOF, I'm doing some work for the city of Bend, and I can tell you that they are jealous of what we've done here in a good way, of course. They're jealous because they're just starting their own process right now. And I think most communities are like Bend, they kind of waited until this thing ended or is almost over. So I mentioned a moment ago the 9 game changer initiatives. There's a total of 86 other projects and programs. These are all spread across 6 focus areas. There's a total of 81 organizations. These are public, private, nonprofit, who've stepped up to serve as lead and supporting partners. The game changer initiatives, and you can see the list right there, are designed to move the needle significantly in the community. And so they're typically, you need multiple lead partners. These things take years. They're very complex, but in the end, they're worth it, obviously. The other thing that happened when we did our outreach in 2021 was one of the big cross-cutting themes that emerged was the need to build greater community resiliency. And we heard that from a lot of folks when we did interviews and when we did our survey and our focus groups. All 9 of the game changer initiatives have some component of building greater community resiliency. And some of the individual projects and programs in the plan have that as well. It was one of the big themes. Another big theme was adapting to growth. There's a lot of folks here who zoomed in on that one and said, we need to adapt to growth. And that means a lot of different things to different people, but that was another big theme. Another one.
You use the term adapt and not prohibit.
Yeah, adapt to
Have
growth.
communities in our region that are trying to prohibit
it. Was,
yeah.
A lot of people would use the phrase, smart growth. Yeah. They would use phrases like that. Another big
people use the term smart government too sometimes too. I'm not sure that they get it all the way right, but yeah.
Another big theme was kind of bridging or healing community divisiveness. And obviously, we're not alone here. This has happened all around the country for a lot of different reasons, and but that was another big theme that we heard. So again, I mentioned a moment ago, we're in the implementation phase. Just a couple of weeks ago or so, on June 8th, we held a workshop for lead and supporting partners. Of the 81 or 82 lead partners we have, 68 were in attendance. So it was a really, really good turnout. Some of the topics we covered include how the OVOF action plan benefits organizations, including funding requests and in planning work. And I know the city of Wenatchee has definitely done or done both of those, used OVOF in that way. We also, the lead partners for each of the 9 game changers have met at least once so far, which is a great thing. One of the initiatives has sort of got a head start. It's the housing one. They've already completed a regional housing survey and held a regional housing summit at Pybus on June 1st. And in a really cool development, the Community Foundation is committed to hiring a full-time person to coordinate two of the game changers, the Many Voices One Region One and the Diverse Leadership One. And that really puts a lot of momentum behind those two for sure. It's the first time in the existence of OVOF that we've really had somebody sort of adopt a game changer in that way. The lead partners for both of those game changers will serve as, I don't know, sort of an advisory board for this coordinator. They'll help steer and guide it. But it's a big lift for those two game changers. And another great thing that we have done, we've developed a partnership with North Central Accountable Community of Health. And they recently started, it's about $2 million, they call it a funding program, but essentially it's grants. And based on the criteria they have in this, it matches really, really well with, Laura and I have talked about this, virtually all our action items, because they have a very broad definition now of health and wellness. And when we did our workshop on June 8th at Pybus, ACH showed up and presented, so all our lead partners are aware of this. So again, that's a really great thing in advancing these things because, you know, we have lead partners and supporting partners, but all these things take time and resources and money. And so to have something like that out there is a great thing. So finally, I want to thank the City of Wenatchee again for your support past and present. What you don't see up here is the time that Laura is devoting. Laura's on our board and also is this year's OVOF board president. In the past, you know, we had Allison Williams and Steve King were involved. And so that's a big deal. You guys have also given us meeting space from time to time. OVOF, sometime in the near future, would welcome an opportunity to talk to you about continued funding. And with that, I'd welcome any questions or comments you have. There is a question at the end here. I don't know if anybody wants to necessarily bite on that one right now, but you could send me your thoughts, email me or call me up.
So, yeah, I just wonder what's incorporated, like Chelan, Douglas County, what's all our valley are?
So we've never purposely drawn a line around us because if you do that, you obviously exclude people and organizations. You know, you can't draw a line around an economy, for example. But
So you mentioned 26% Latinos
oh, yeah.
participated.
So this is
out
Chelan
of the
and Douglas.
2,000, so I'm kind of getting a feel like, I'm just trying to get in my mind, let's say if you didn't incorporate Chelan, Douglas
Yeah.
County and it's 80,000, I'm trying to see if it's proportion.
So I think the two-county population now is about 115,000 or something, but that 26% is Chelan and Douglas. We had a few, I want to say less than a dozen people from Quincy who participated in some form, but
The
that's essentially,
population is almost a third Hispanic now, I believe. or
yeah, it's
somewhere.
about 30 to 35%.
Yeah.
So I'd like to, I would, you know, we're close.
Yeah,
I'd
we're
like to have
close.
seen
And,
33%.
You know, and when we did this work, people also could check a box that said they wouldn't, or they didn't want to say what their ethnicity or race was. And so we had about 5 or 6% people check that box too. So it probably was higher than 26%, but I don't know for sure how much.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're getting participation
Yeah.
from everybody.
And that was accomplished through partnering with community organizations like Cafe, Parque Padrinos, Hand in Hand Immigration Services, and they helped us immensely to open the door. And, you know, back in May of 2021, if you guys remember back then, that's when the COVID numbers dropped and everybody's kind of started to relax and we started getting out there and we held 3 successive Friday nights at Met-Hal Park. We had focus groups and Cafe Parque Patrinos helped us with that. And we had 150 people show up. It was basically for Spanish speakers because we had translators and we had food and music and everybody showed up, ate a little bit, listened to some music, and then everybody divided into the different picnic tables at the park. And it was an amazing experience. It really was. It was, and the information we gathered and collected during those 3 Friday evenings was amazing. I mean, they really did tell us what they think.
Good.
Yep.
And the housing stories that I've been reading are amazing, and I'm glad that's a game changer. And we
Yeah.
have to find a way to provide more sustainable housing at reasonable prices for those members of our community that need that.
One thing I mentioned, maybe I'll close with is, I mentioned it kind of briefly as I was going through this presentation, and that is, we know for a fact, because we basically send out a questionnaire at the end of each year to our lead partners, and over the course of the first 5-year action plan, which expired at the end of 2021, there was something like $70 million came into this community in part because of OVF, because people used this in their grant and funding requests, because today funders want to see broad community support, and they could hold up this plan and all the work we did
Yep.
to boost their chances. And so that figure is probably even higher, but that's something that we calculated. And so, and that's again, something we talked to our lead and supporting partners.
I think you could add 92 million for
Yeah.
infra to
Yeah.
that list.
Yeah. So it helps. And I frequently get contacted by lead partners who are applying for money, and they want a letter of support, and I provide them that. So that's something else that we do that I don't think a lot of people realize.
What kind of budget you running on, and how much does the city give you? Because I'm confused. Sorry for
This past year or so, because we did this action plan, that was a lot of work. I mean, yeah, it was a lot of work. And so we had Stephen Ames, I don't know if you remember Stephen Ames from Bend, he came back and helped us, and there was a lot of cost with that. But we typically, we're a lean, lean machine. We operate, I would say, 120,000, 130,000. I'm on contract. There are no other employees. I have a great board that
And we give 30?
20.
20.
20? Okay.
Yeah. So we're starting to talk about the long-term sustainability of our valley, our future. And one of the ideas that's popped up is creating an endowment to fund future operations. And we're starting to talk to the Community Foundation about that and some others. So we may go that route. We're not sure yet.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate
Yeah.
all your work.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's get to work on these action items, and thank you, Laura, for being on the board. And yeah,
Great.
I used to come in every Friday morning to sort of recap city council, and she'd be at Our Valley, Our Future. So yeah, she's been there a lot. So thank you.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Steve.
Yep.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, we got a handful plus one of action items. So the first is a professional services agreement with ALSC Architects regarding the convention center. So Laura?
Good evening, Council. Laura Gloria, Executive Services Director. So the item before you is a professional services agreement with ALC Architects for the Wenatchee Convention Center renovation and expansion schematic design, and the total about a little over or $350,000. Did I say that right? So this process started probably, I think, 2018, before my time, with a market analysis of the Wenatchee Convention Center to see what could be done to potentially expand business, attract lost business. So that market analysis was done in 2019. It was the intent of the staff at that time to move forward with the remodel of the convention center to support that. Obviously, COVID kind of put a pause on that, but we're back now. We released a RFQ for architectural services in October of 2021. We received 3 proposals with the committee that consisted of the hospitality sector, the Downtown Association, the Performing Arts Center, and city staff. Those we identified 2 top firms, interviewed those top 2 firms, and then selected ALSC as the recommended organization to move forward with this. So they have provided us a quote to move forward with the pre-planning and some of the programming work to get us to schematic design. And so basically over the next 6 months, the proposed work will get us to the point where we can have a concept design, some costs for the whole project. Right now, we've kind of eyeballed it, but we're not sure what that actually will look like. And so at the end of the 6 months, we anticipate coming back to the city council and saying, okay, here's what the renovation and remodel could look like. Here's how much it could cost. And then at that point would ask you to consider whether that's a project that you'd like to move forward with as well. So right now, again, this cost here in this contract is for the to get us to conceptual design. The funding does come from our lodging tax funds. So we met with the LTAC committee a couple weeks ago, and they supported the use of this funds this year in order to do this. And they also supported the idea of, again, coming back to them once we have a better idea of the full cost of the project to go ahead and discuss more what the final scope of work could look like. So with that, if the council is supportive of moving forward with this, we would do a kickoff starting in the next couple of weeks and get this project going, get a stakeholder group together and really start to roll our sleeves up and figure out what this could look like. So with that, I'll take
This
any
gets us to a
questions.
good landing spot, right? This gets us to a spot where you'll have a pretty good idea. Is this a $20 million project, a $14 million project, an 8? Do you want to do a 12? What are you going to get for that? So this will give us a good stance, good place to land and then make the decision to go forward and what version send Brad to the bond market and go. But this will get us to that point.
Right.
All right, any questions for Laura? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for the city council to approve the professional services agreement with ALSC Architects in the amount of $354,784 for the Wenatchee Convention Center renovation and expansion schematic design and authorize the mayor's signature.
We have a motion by Councilmember Poyer, a second by Councilmember Rojan to approve the professional services agreement with ALSC Architects in the amount of $354,784 for the Wenatchee Convention Center renovation, expansion, schematic, design, and authorize the mayor's signature. That was hard to say. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thought I heard Keith. Keith, you there? All right. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.
Did you thought you heard Keith for a while?
He was there for a hot minute.
All right. Let me see my phone. He's not texting me to tell him he's not here yet.
Talking about riding your bike.
Yeah. All right, next up is code changes regarding division fees. You're not Darcy.
I'm not Darcy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got that part right, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hi, Rob.
so yeah, we let staff have the night off. I've got the next 4 items. So we'll get through these quickly and then we'll bring Jessica in to
Back clean up?
clean up there
All right.
on the last one. So, so the first item here is the code changes to 1.99040 of our community development building code, which is, these are the sewer and water fees. Both the Finance Committee and the Public Works Committee have seen these. We're simply expanding this fee credit to all of the city of Wenatchee. It was previously limited to South Wenatchee. And there's criteria in the code that says if a project meets certain income levels that they qualify for a fee waiver of water and sewer. And so currently, as an example, if somebody came in and was to build a Habitat for Humanity house, say in any neighborhood within the city, they would qualify for roughly an $11,000 fee waiver. So we haven't had a lot of these, but we did want to correct the code to make sure it was available within the entire city. So, it's a good program, and we're recommending that you approve ordinance 2022-12 to amend 199 of the city code.
And I believe we got both of these last time we met, both in Public Works and Finance Committee. So these have been reviewed by both and accepted by both. With that, I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for the city council to adopt ordinance number 2022-12, amending chapter 199 of the Wenatchee City Code. Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hornby, second by Councilmember Cuevas to adopt ordinance 2022-12, amending chapter 1.99 of the Wenatchee City Code. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Next item regarding pavement preservation.
Yes, so the next item.
Selection.
The next item is for a budget amendment and supplement number 2 to our agreement with KPG Engineering. The action request is that City Council would approve the mayor to sign this budget amendment. This provides for inspection and administration services of our $3.4 million paver contract, which you approved earlier this month. And it also corrected a couple of the revenue items in the budget when you chose to take on the add alt there. So, but the item before you is authorizing the mayor to enter into this supplement contract with KPG. So, the
So
motion-
KPG will be doing the inspection work
It
and they'll
is.
be out there
Yeah.
checking to make sure the asphalt's
Yeah.
going down the right way and.
It's a 65-day contract with about over 1,700 hours of estimated construction administration by KPG.
Okay.
I did want to point out, again, I've been kind of bringing this, our preservation program requires us to upgrade these ADA ramps. This particular project this year, doing 85 new ramps.
Wow.
And when you do a ramp, the actual inspection of the ramps, because of the requirements that we have to certify that they meet ADA standards, there's about 12 points on the actual ramp. We have to document every single slope that it meets the ADA standard. So
Wow.
it is not just looking at it and say it looks good. There's quite a bit of work there. So anyway, just to kind of frame the
So they're gonna have
amount
more
of-
than one inspector out there working.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're figuring about 3 people.
Yeah.
helping us, 1,700 hours over
Yeah.
65 days. So,
Yeah, we couldn't have 3 people of our staff doing that.
no.
Just a little bit off the subject, I'm just curious, we already approved a little bit more to
Yes.
help with roads.
Mhm.
We did that, must have did that a couple
Right,
weeks
so
ago.
that added South Mission into this year's
In that,
presentation.
yeah.
Yeah. I think he's just cleaning up some of the language to make sure it gets to where he needs it. Got to keep the accountants happy, right? Everyone's goal every morning, keep your accountant happy.
Mhm.
All right, any other questions for Rob? If not, I would entertain a motion. It's item C on our budget, on our.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for City Council to approve the project budget amendment and authorize the mayor to execute supplement number 2 with KPG for construction inspection services for the 2022 pavement preservation project number 2,110.
Have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
All right, we got a motion by Councilmember Hornby, a second by Councilmember Cuevas to approve the project budget amendment and authorize the mayor to execute supplement number 2 with KPG for construction inspection services for the 2022 pavement preservation project number 2110. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved? Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Gun Road, Mr. Jammerman.
Yes, so Gun Road, we've again brought that to the Finance Committee, and we've shown it to the Public Works Committee just this week. This is something we've been working on with the Washington State Department of Transportation for the last 3 years to turn Gun Road, which is it was a private road owned by WashDOT, to a public road. It's from Euclid up to the east side of the theaters. It's used as our public street network. Before we took it over, we asked that Department of Transportation bring it up to some urban standards. So they installed curb and gutter and sidewalk out there. So we have a pedestrian route from Euclid up to the theater and then across their parking lot. So after they got those improvements done, we said that we would go ahead and take that, or we're willing to take that as a public road. And so tonight you're agreeing that we should accept this quitclaim deed to dedicate this road as public right of way.
Well, I know we've been working on this for a while, so I'm going to make a motion for the city council to approve the quitclaim deed transferring Gun Road to the city of Wenatchee and authorize the mayor to sign the document.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Poyer, second by Councilmember Rojan to approve the quitclaim deed transferring Gun Road to the city of Wenatchee and authorize the mayor to sign the document. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And finally, Solid Waste Services.
Yes, this is a simple matter. It's just amending their contract that allows Waste Management to begin garbage service at 5 a.m. between the months of June 1st and September 30th, when the forecasted high for the day is over 90 degrees. Allows their workers to get out and start early. It is dovetailed with L&I requirements for heat awareness. And instead of, in the past, we had emergency allowances for them to do this. This allows them to do that when those forecasted temperatures. So it's been approved already in the valley. East Wenatchee, City of East Wenatchee's already approved it. So we're just asking that the council approve this amendment to the contract.
And I think if they do that, they said they do some public outreach and let
Mhm.
people know
Yeah,
that
we-
they're going to
we-
hear the dump truck load earlier and. yeah.
Right, and we'll work with Laura and Tammy and get stuff out on our social media as well, so.
Rob, what do we do with our own employees? Do we let them go out a little earlier in the summer? How does that work with us? And is it noise? Are we talking about, are we worried about the noise? or-
Yeah, it is a noise issue. And I'm looking to Jessica, I believe last year when we had the heat wave in June, we were having crews come in and trying to do work that was not noisy earlier in the day so that they could get out of here by 2 or 3. So we try to accommodate that. And we teach, one of our requirements for L&I is that we teach about heat awareness, heat stroke, those types of things. So, but we do accommodate.
Great. Any other questions for Rob?
Did we get any complaints when we did this last year?
Not that I'm aware of. We did a lot of public outreach on it, and I don't recall hearing any complaints.
We're just excited to get the garbage, right? Yeah. All right, any other questions for Rob? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion for City Council to approve the First Amendment to the Solid Waste Service Agreement and authorize the mayor to sign the amendment.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Rojan, second by Councilmember Hornby to approve the First Amendment to the Solid Waste Service Agreement and authorize the mayor to sign the amendment. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Rob.
All right.
Hi, Jessica.
Batting cleanup, see if we can get
Yeah.
a home run.
Good evening, Jessica Shaw, Deputy Public Works Director, Utilities. And tonight, we have before you a recommendation for the award of a design contract for the wastewater treatment plant drying bed expansion for Gray and Osborne. After the May 12th council meeting where we received a budget amendment to move forward with this project, we run out of room at our drying beds. And so we've been having to haul to Boulder Park, which is about 3 to 4 times more expensive.
You're
than our-
unhappy to haul to Boulder Park. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Well, we'd like to use our money for other things than hauling to
I am
Boulder Park.
unhappy when you haul to Boulder Park as well.
Yeah. So this will help reduce those costs we've experienced the last few years by expanding our drying bed area. And so in the approved budget amendment, we had $247,500 for design. Grand Osborne has provided us a scope of work with a budget amount of $214,000. So we're very pleased that so far under budget. And so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those at this time.
So this is a design and you're thinking it's another couple $1 million to build?
Yeah, so we have kind of some fallback plans. We would love to be able to double the size of the facility, add 4 new beds. But we, if possible, will just build 2 because we think 2 will get us through short term, probably the next 10 years. But we would grade and prepare the site, fence in enough for the additional 2 beds. But it's kind of a decision we'll make once we get into design and look at all the costs and figure out what's the right path forward. But at a minimum, we do need to build 2 beds sooner rather than later.
Okay, any questions for Jessica? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Well, I'm glad it's under budget,
Yeah.
so that makes me feel good. I'm going to make a motion for the city council to award the design contract of the wastewater treatment plant drying bed expansion project number 2211 to Gray and Osborne Incorporated in the amount of $214,000 and authorize the mayor to sign the design contract on behalf of the city.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Poyer, second by Councilmember Hornby to award the design contract for the wastewater treatment plant drying bed expansion project number 2211 to Gray and Osborne, Inc. in the amount of $214,000 and authorize the mayor to sign the design contract on behalf of the city. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Yeah, that's all right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll figure that part out. Yeah. So mayor's report, I got 4 or 5 things. I noticed Chief is gone. I did want to make a comment about your police department. Had a pretty good week. They did quite a little drug, got some fairly significant drug dealers that they've arrested. They found the culprit in the fire at Target, so they've had a really good week, and so I was just going to thank them for that. Your facilities staff have been doing yeoman's work at the swimming pool. So as of now, it continues to hold. Did they do it all the way through a night yet? Do you know? Okay. I knew, Dave said they were going to not run at night and then make sure the next day worked before they ran it all night to go back in the next morning and see what had happened. But they used some epoxies and some other stuff, and the first one failed. They changed epoxies, and the second one is holding. So keep our fingers crossed that it holds. We have ordered another boiler that I think we expect to show up in about 14 weeks. So it will be ready for next season, but and insurance is paying for some of it. I think we have a $25,000 deductible, and insurance will cover the rest. So we are getting some insurance reimbursement for that. Obviously, if you've been following sort of any of the local media, the Skookum sign has come off the building above Office Depot. I have been in contact with Ron Gonzalez. Ron is the president of Bluebird. He and I have exchanged a little communication. I will follow up with him again tomorrow to see what their long-term intentions are with the sign. So if the intention is to not put it back up, I think the city should get in the middle of it, or the museum or somebody, and get it back, get it restored, and get it back up in our community. But that'll be a decision for you guys to make. But I do want you to know that I've reached out to him, and so hopefully we'll find either they're fixing it and going to put it back up, or if they choose not to, that we can somehow figure out how to get that back into the public viewership where it probably needs to be. Laura, what else was on our
Highly
list?
in favor of that.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. And again, we don't have a lot of leverage here. It's their sign. But hopefully, I will reach out to Ron again tomorrow. We exchanged stuff on I think Tuesday of this week, and I will follow up with him again tomorrow to see if he can provide me with any further information. Laura?
Love to hear about it.
Yeah.
On July 11th, Link Transit is doing kind of a ribbon cutting celebration for some of their new routes, specifically a new route from Columbia Station to Saddle Rock Trailhead. So the mayor and I will be participating, and of course you're all invited. So that new route will be Route 3 that'll start on July 11th, again from Columbia Station to Saddle Rock. Other than that, we received an email from our Misawa delegation that they won't be visiting this year due to ongoing, the pandemic. And so I think we'll respond to them and just, let them know that we're here for them, and that will hopefully maybe next year we'll be able to have a delegation or send some folks out there as well.
I did not get to attend the Pride Festival, but I heard it was wonderfully, lots of folks there, and I heard it went really, really well. So I will try to go next year, but I did not get to go this year, but I heard great things about it. Council members, anything for the good of the order on your side of the idols? So our next meeting, we don't meet next week, which is the 30th, and then we generally wouldn't meet on the first Thursday of the month. So barring any major events, we'll be meeting on Thursday, July 14th.
Yep.
So this is one of our times when we actually get a little bit of a longer break. So falls every so often, we get the extra week off. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, we're adjourned.